Today, Plano, Texas is a thriving city within the DFW Metroplex with nearly 300,000 people. But 125 years ago, it was a small farming and ranching community with about 1,000. Let's take a step back to May of 1895 and learn about the Collinsworth smallpox epidemic. Family had come to Plano in the 1870s from Tennessee and Virginia. They were kin to the early Collinsworths who fought in the Battle of San Jacinto, James and George. James was also a signer of the Texas Declaration of Independence. By the 1890s, more of the family had arrived and they settled in the nearby towns of Frisco and Allen as well. It was early May 1895, and a traveling salesman with whom we do not know his name was welcomed into the home of Daniel Milton Collinsworth, or as he went by, Milt. The act of kindness will forever change the family and community around them. It was customary to take in a salesman or travelers at the time. It was a kind thing to do, and another means to make a little bit of money. The man sat and ate dinner with the family, which consisted of Milt, his wife, and his young daughter. The salesman excused himself to his room as he stated he was not feeling well that night. Early the next morning, when the man was leaving, he mentioned he was still not feeling well at all. He left, and the family started their chores. Milt's daughter had the chore of changing the sheets on the man's bed. This one chore and one act of kindness alone would turn deadly. Within a few days, she fell ill, and the community's doctor would misdiagnose her, and she would pass away within days. In that time, the funerals were held at the home. Family members traveled from Frisco and Allen to attend the funeral at the home in Plano. Since it was a rainy day, the family crowded into the home with the windows shut, and the disease spread like wildfire. Within days, 4 more members of the family succumbed to the disease that was now diagnosed as smallpox. 10 more Collinsworths would die from the smallpox during that time. McKinney's newspaper, the Democrat, printed a resolution by the Collin County Alliance expressing sympathy. The family of Brother F.M. Collinsworth of Haggard Alliance has been terribly afflicted by the visitation of smallpox in his family, resulting in the death of several family members. Therefore, be it resolved that we tender to the surviving members our heartfelt sympathy in this sore bereavement. To help stop the spread of the disease, the city of Plano quarantined the land and passed a resolution to vaccinate all citizens. Anyone within the area between what is now Spring Creek Parkway and Park Boulevard, Coit and Preston Roads were forbidden to leave. An armed guard patrolled the border. Since traveling via roads was prohibited, it made transporting food and medical supplies very difficult. For those within the quarantine, food supplies were limited. One survivor, a man named Bob Fortner, later vowed that he'd never eat rice again, having relied on it for so many meals during that time. Several of those that were affected and had recovered from smallpox crossed the quarantine to aid those affected in the family. One such man, Mr. Albert Garrett, a smallpox survivor, nursed the sick. Silas Harrington, an owner of a pharmacy in downtown, delivered groceries to the quarantine line. Farwick Collinsworth, who was the family patriarch, would lose his wife Lucy Ann, sons Ishmael and Levi, grandchildren Mary, Robert, and Milt's daughter, and a nephew Toby from Kentucky. The Collinsworth Cemetery in Plano was started behind Milt's home. Bodies were brought to the site at night from all over and buried as they thought they would lessen the likelihood of contamination. In all, there are at least a dozen buried within the cemetery that had succumbed to smallpox. The cemetery was last used in the 1920s. By the 1990s, the cemetery was left in disrepair on a plot of land that was not much different than it was in 1895. After surveying the cemetery, a group of volunteers with the help of UTA were able to locate the headstones and raise them from the ground. In 2004, the land was sold to a developer and large homes were built. Part of their agreement was to set aside the cemetery and develop it into a serene park and a place to remember. Over the last 15 years, the cemetery has been revitalized thanks to a new nonprofit foundation organized by Charlotte Carpenter Johnson, who is a direct descendant of Farwick Collinsworth. With the help of other family members, including my own mother and my grandmother, Betty Collinsworth Fulbright, new headstones and a new entrance have been installed. There is also a historical marker and an entrance detailing the cemetery and its historical significance. The cemetery has also been designated a Texas Historical Cemetery. If you live in the area, I highly recommend a visit, as you will not be disappointed. You may even learn a thing or two about some very important local and Texas history. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little walk into the past. Do you think you can learn anything from the past in light of today's events? You never know where the past will take you, sometimes even to the present. Thank you again, and please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe. I hope to be doing more videos after a now 2-year hiatus. Thanks again. Have a good one.